And MJ said this, Clyde Drexler is just as good as me.
Clyde was a threat.
I mean, he jumped over my head and dunked.
Man, it was must-see TV, but
Clyde Drexler was doing it alongside Jordan at the same time with him, sometimes even better.
Michael Jordan thus far 4 for 11 for 8 points. Clyde Drexler 3 out of 7 for 9. It's quite a matchup between these two, and earlier I talked about it with Michael.
Well, Clyde is somewhat of a mirror of me in a sense. I mean, he's so versatile. He plays, offense, he plays defense. He's good with assists. He can score. So you got to respect him in all areas of basketball. I'm just going to try to contain him as much as possible. Try to force him to shoot the outside shot, as most people try to force me to shoot the outside shot, and force him to his weaker hand, which is left. And that's what people do to me. So hopefully it can work against him.
It was like 4 of us, MJ included, and the conversation came up about Clyde Drexler. And MJ said this, and I quote, Clyde Drexler is just as good as me. He just don't know how to play the game. Do you follow me? And we ain't talking about basketball. And that was the question. What do you mean? You know what the fuck I mean. Point blank.
I remember being in the 8th, 9th, 10th grade watching Clyde Drexler play, sitting on my couch and really starting to have distractions for the game of basketball. Even though I was outside playing it, maybe 20 minutes earlier, I would come in, watch the game for a little bit, and go back out and play again. I could never sit in front of the TV and watch it. But then when they started saying Clyde Drexler and show when he dunked the ball or anything great he did, I was attracted to the TV. It made me want to sit there and watch it. When he almost jumped from the free throw line, I think he was playing a Laker. And, both his feet up in the air, that was his signature, dunk. One hand came down the lane. He floated. When Clyde dunked, Clyde came up with both his legs. I used to always pick my legs up. I used to always say that, when I did that, I was Clyde Drexler.
And the Bucks with numbers. Brandon up top. Ray Allen the slam. Gorgeous alley-oop.
A lot of people don't realize that Clyde is 6'7", 6'7", 6'8". He had like 44-inch vertical. He was jumping out of the gym.
18-11. Long basket. Drexler on the alley-oop. He climbed the golden ladder for that.
All top of the key, top to alley-oop. Oh my goodness. You're not supposed to be able to do that.
A lot of credit went to Michael Jordan for him being able to do things he's done, but Clyde Drexler was doing it alongside Jordan at the same time with him, sometimes even better.
The thing that made Clyde so special, his athleticism was off the charts. And, I remember watching him in college when they had the great team, Phi Slamma Jamma. He came into the NBA dunking, but when you go back and you look at some of his college dunks, you're like, whoa.
You never lose that image in your head of Clyde taking off from the free throw line over Andre Turner of Memphis State and just dunking that thing. You're like, oh my God, did he jump from the three-point line? Is someone really that athletic? And then watching Clyde in his early days in Portland, you were like, Clyde was must-see TV.
Is known for his acrobatic drives to the basket, his high-flying dunks and all. And I just kept remembering him hitting jump shots in the NBA Finals. And I remember going into the finals saying, okay, I'm going to make him shoot jump shots. And that's the weak part of his game. And he kept hitting jump shots. And I kept thinking, he can't be doing this to me right now in the NBA Finals.
I stood there to take a charge, and he came full blast, and I'm holding myself, and I'm looking at this dude, and I'm saying, he's gonna kill me. He's like gonna run me over, and he's not gonna stop. He's not slowing down. He's not slowing down. And then he jumped. And I remember this fool jumping, right? And just going and going. And I was like, he's gonna kick me. And then he tucked his legs up under, and his knees like floated right over my head, and he dunked it. And I was like, oh my God, he just dunked that basketball. That's my memory of Clyde Drexler. I mean, he jumped over my head and dunked.
And not at one point can I remember during Clyde's career, he was ever pointing to about him. It's about Clyde Drexler. Yes, he wanted to eventually win a championship and went to Houston, was a part of that. But he always carried himself in a professional manner, meaning the team was first. So I understand his comments. Even when in the 92 finals, and I would happen to be coming out of college, it was a draft combine in Chicago. I was at, game 1 or game 2. I think it was game 1 when Michael Jordan had the 6 3-pointers. Even at that time when the media was trying to pit Michael against Clyde kind of stayed out of the fray because he understood that in order for Portland to win, it wasn't about he and Michael Jordan going up again. It was about the Trailblazers trying to do what they needed to do to beat the Bulls.
We can definitely talk about the 92 finals. Had a chance to play with a guy that, I idolized young, and had a chance to play against Clyde in the finals. And I must say, I was very afraid going into that series, because it was that moment really where Clyde was probably one of my biggest challenges for as a small forward in the game, a guy that played a lot like me, a lot of speed, athleticism, can handle the ball, make plays. So it was a big challenge for me to be able to have to run up against, a guy like Clyde. It was a lot of fun, a lot of great memories that I take from playing against that Portland team, especially against Clyde.
Otis Thorpe was our dude.
There were a couple of guys that were undecided about the trade and had questions about it.
This guy comes in, sits down in our locker room, crosses his leg, reading the Wall Street Journal.
When you're mad about a trade, you kind of stay mad.
Who is this dude? Telling us how to win. Dude, we beat you last year. So it's like, who is this guy? And then we go, oh, he's special.
Clyde came in and started hooping. I'm like, man, this dude, he's on a mission.
It was a good time, man. We had so much fun playing with Clyde, and this game, man, was so unique. I'm telling you, and Clyde, I gotta tell you something too, Clyde. I don't think you knew this, but when you got on the team, you were known for being late all the time. Yeah.
Hold up, Rob. Hold up. In Portland, we had a rank system. Not only if you were late, you had to pay everybody. So I and not paying fines. I was the on-time guy. Now, hold up. You called me late coming to that Houston team?
Hold on. Now, you don't know this. I want you to go back and ask anybody. We changed the time up in practice. I think we said, I can't remember exactly. We said practice was going to be at 10:30. We told you that. But we told everybody else that practice was going to be at 11 o'clock, so practice could start on time.
First time I'm on a break with Clyde Drexler, and he just drove with his head down, and I'm running the lane real hard. I didn't realize he saw me, and he threw a nice hard pass, and my hands couldn't get up quick enough and hit me in the head. I was like, oh. He was like, going back down the court. Clyde was the guy, didn't say too much on the basketball court. He just led by example, and he whispered to me, stay ready. I see you. You don't think I see you. I see you. So from that day on, when I ran, I kept my eyes on Clyde Drexler all the time.
There was so many great memories. I remember one time we was playing you in Portland. I said, I'm gonna get Clyde stuff, because I know he gonna do that spin with his head down and do that finger roll. Man, I dang near put my arm out of socket trying to swing at it, and the ball just said, shoot, right over my face. Like, how in the heck did he see me? He's like, he spent it just a little bit more to get it over me. I was like, come on, man, I'm gonna get it one time. Because he had all these moments for me.
Loved the game of basketball and was very unselfish. And Clyde doesn't get enough credit for his unselfishness. He could have chucked the ball up a lot, and he did. He gave the ball to his teammates. He trusted his teammates. He allowed Terry Porter to actually be a point guard, and I thought enhanced Terry Porter's name and his ability to be seen. But Clyde could have just dominated that team at that particular point in time, like, say, Michael Jordan was dominating the Bulls statistically, like Dominique was dominating Atlanta. Clyde Drexler could have done the same thing, but he decided not to. And it made him an all-around player and a great teammate.
Clyde was a threat. I'm not saying he wasn't a threat, but me being compared to him, I took offense to that.
We knew Clyde was a great player, a Hall of Famer, but we had known what we could do with the basketball team we had. We won a championship last year. So now our opportunity seemed like it was being taken away from us.
Also very happy when I see what we're getting, our old teammate. We talk about this all the time in the All-Star break. If we can play together again, it would be so much fun. It was just like a dream.
I remember playing against Clyde in the NBA Finals, and I'll never forget, I'm backpedaling, and he's coming down on a break, and I decide to stop, and I'm gonna take a charge. And the only thing I saw was his knees like tucking in the air and him jumping over me and dunking it. Dumars took it out of bounds, and I asked him, I said, did he just jump over my head? And Dumars goes, yeah, and Dumars and I are coming up the court, and we're talking to each other about the play that Clyde just made in terms of jumping over my head. And I'm sure everybody else thought that we were talking about, something that was happening, that play that we were getting run around. But, we were definitely talking about, what we had just saw Clyde do. So, again, with his athleticism, his toughness, it was very difficult to play against him or guard him or to stop him. You just tried to contain him.
The NBA's had plenty of great nicknames over its history. I don't know that
any one of them fits a player better than Clyde the Glide, because there was such an athletic grace about him.
He was just smooth, man. Clyde played the game hard and efficient, but he was so cool the way he played and so smooth, and he made the game seem effortless. And when you watch him, man, everything was just done with ease, but he was a great player. He was a lethal scorer. And at the time, the only Achilles heel Clyde Drexler had, that he played in the same era as Michael Jordan. Because during that era, if it wasn't for Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler would have been known as the best two guard in the East or Western Conference, hands down.
Well, how did he stack up during that era when you're playing against him in terms of how you're scouting him, where he is on the whiteboard before the game?
I remember talking to John Lucas one time, and Lucas told me that, we was talking about Clyde Drexler and that he's really right-hand dominant. And John Lucas said, but it doesn't matter. If you're so good and everyone know you going that way and they still can't stop, what does that say about him? And more importantly, what does it say about you? Clyde Drexler was just one of those guys to where when he made up his mind where he wanted to go and what he wanted to do, that was no stopping him. First, he was a great athlete. Second, he played the game hard. And then the way they played in Portland, out in transition with that crowd with him, Jerome Kersey, and Terry Porter, man, it was must-see TV. But they were one of the most talented teams in the NBA during that era.
Well, the image you see behind you really sums up who Clyde Drexler was as a player. Airborne and smooth. That's why he's the Glide.